The flag folded sharp against my brother's palms. He held it like it might break. Our father stood behind him, chest out, camera phone raised, already capturing the moment for people who weren't there. I stood 10 rows back, invisible. The way I'd been since I left for boot camp 8 years ago and came back 6 months later wearing civilian clothes. Couldn't hack it, my father told anyone who asked. Some people just don't have the grit. I never corrected him. Not because I didn't want to, but because the truth would have required explaining things I wasn't allowed to explain. So I let them have their story. The dropout, the disappointment, the older brother who quit while the younger one pushed through. My brother believed it too. Why wouldn't he? We barely spoke after I left. He was 15, watching me pack, watching me come back too soon. He never asked why, never asked anything. The ceremony moved forward, speeches, medals. My brother standing straighter than I'd ever seen him. My father recording every second, phone held high, blocking the view of the woman behind him. Then the general took the stage. Not some base commander. The general. 4 stars, silver hair, face you'd recognize if you followed military news, which my family didn't. They just saw a uniform. Authority, someone to salute. He shook my brother's hand, said something that made my brother nod seriously. Standard stuff. Then he looked up, over the crowd, past the families, past the phones, straight at me. I felt it before I understood it. The pause, the recognition, the slight tilt of his head like he was confirming something. He stepped off the stage. The room went quiet. Not the kind of quiet that happens between speeches, the kind that happens when something unexpected breaks the rhythm. People turned, followed his path, wondered which VIP they'd missed. He stopped in front of me. "Colonel," he said, not loud, just enough. Didn't know you'd be here. The word hung there, Colonel. Attached to me, attached to the dropout standing in the back row. I nodded. That was all. Just a nod. He held my eyes for a moment longer. Respect. That's what it was. The kind of respect you can't fake, can't borrow, can't explain away. Then he turned and walked back to the stage like nothing had happened. The silence stayed. I watched my father's face change. The confusion first, then the calculation, then something else. Something that looked almost like fear. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound came out. My brother was staring at me, the medal still in his hand, the general forgotten, just me. Behind them, my mother whispered something to my aunt. I caught my name, caught the word colonel, caught the way my aunt shook her head like the math wasn't adding up. I didn't explain. That was the thing. I could have told them about the 6 years after I left home, the deployments that didn't make the news, the work that didn't come with a uniform or a ceremony or a flag to fold, the promotion I accepted in a windowless office overseas while my family sat around a Thanksgiving table, probably telling the dropout story again. But I didn't explain, because the moment wasn't about them understanding. It was about me realizing I'd stopped needing them to. The crowd started murmuring, people glancing my way, the general back on stage, continuing like nothing happened. My brother still staring, my father still silent. I stayed until the end, watched my brother shake more hands, watched my mother take photos, watched my father stand apart, phone down now, arms at his sides. When it was over, I walked out. No goodbyes, no explanations, no dramatic exit. Just the door closing behind me and the cold air outside and the long walk to my rental car. Behind me, I heard footsteps. Wait, my brother's voice. Different now, less certain. I stopped, turned. He stood in the parking lot light, still in uniform, still holding the program from the ceremony. Behind him, the building glowed. Inside, people were still celebrating. Why didn't you tell us? The question I'd waited 8 years to hear. And now that it was here, I didn't have an answer that would make sense to him. You never asked, I said. He flinched. Small. Almost invisible. I waited. Let him feel it. I thought. He stopped, started again. Dad said, I know what Dad said. The silence stretched between us. Cold air, fluorescent light. The sound of a car starting somewhere in the lot. I have to go, I said. He nodded. Didn't move. I got in the car, started the engine, watched him stand there in my rearview mirror, getting smaller until I turned onto the main road and he disappeared. I didn't look back after that. Not because I was angry. Not because I was making a point. Just because I'd spent 8 years learning to look forward.